Next time you're grabbing coffee or sitting in a restaurant, stop and look around. You aren't just looking at people. You're witnessing a real-time laboratory of wealth creation and financial destruction. Most of the people you see are trapped in a cycle of mediocrity, and it has almost nothing to do with their salary. The data is haunting. 1 out of every 3 people you pass cannot cover a simple $400 emergency. Think about that. $400 is less than the average monthly car payment. Yet for millions of working adults, it represents a total catastrophe. This financial fragility doesn't care about your degree or your job title. It's a shadow that follows the executive and the cashier alike. The truth is, being broke is rarely about math. It's about the roadmap. You've met the 6-figure earner who is drowning in stress and the modest worker who is completely secure. The difference isn't luck, it's direction. Most people navigate their financial lives like a cross-country road trip with no GPS and a blindfold. They earn, they spend, and they hope for the best. But hope is not a strategy. Without a specific destination, like killing debt in 24 months or securing a down payment, every dollar becomes a random choice rather than a calculated step toward freedom. Life is also predictably unpredictable. Engines fail, roofs leak, and medical bills arrive. Yet, we treat these events like lightning strikes. When you aren't prepared for the inevitable, you're forced into desperate moves, high-interest credit cards, or awkward loans from family. This isn't bad luck. It's a lack of a spending plan. Most people run their personal lives with less oversight than a failing lemonade stand. They have a vague sense of their money, but vague is where wealth goes to die. Those $5 lattes and forgotten subscriptions aren't just small leaks. They are the holes sinking your ship. There is also a psychological poison called present focus. We tell ourselves life is short and we deserve to enjoy it now. While that sounds liberating, it's often a mask for financial suicide. People make choices as if their future selves don't exist, trading decades of security for minutes of pleasure. Look at normal habits, daily takeout, or expensive vices. These aren't just lifestyle choices. They are massive transfers of wealth out of your pocket. $500 a month on convenience isn't just lunch. It's the seed money for a fortune that you're throwing in the trash. Perhaps the most dangerous habit is the inability to distinguish between debt that builds and debt that destroys. Productive debt, like a mortgage on a rental or a lean business loan, is a ladder, but destructive debt? That's an anchor. Taking out a loan for a car that loses value the moment you drive it off the lot, or swiping a card for a vacation you can't afford, is pure self-sabotage. You aren't just paying interest. You are stretching your life so thin that any tension will make it snap. Finally, we have to address an uncomfortable truth. Many people stay broke because they are obsessed with looking rich. We buy luxury watches so colleagues will notice, and lease cars we can't afford to project an image of prosperity. It's a performance. We've convinced ourselves that if we dress the part, success will follow. But the irony is tragic. The money spent trying to look like you've made it is the exact money that would have actually gotten you there. Real wealth is quiet. It's the freedom you have, not the things you show. While those struggling are busy performing success, truly wealthy individuals are often invisible. They aren't interested in impressive. They're interested in comfortable. They drive older cars and wear modest clothing because they understand a fundamental law of building a fortune. Every dollar spent on a facade is a dollar that isn't working for you. When you spend to look successful, you trap yourself in a vicious cycle. You require increasingly expensive props to maintain the act while your actual financial foundation rots behind the scenes. Eventually, the cost of the facade becomes so high that it guarantees you'll never achieve the very success you're trying to project. Most people approach their finances backward. They pay the landlord, the grocer, and the utility company first, then hope there's something left for their future. This practically guarantees you will stay broke. Life has a way of expanding your expenses to consume every cent of available income. If your future gets last priority, it usually gets nothing. To break the cycle, you must flip the sequence. Treat your investments and savings like an essential, non-negotiable bill. Pay your future self the moment you get paid, before a single cent goes anywhere else. This shift forces you to live on what remains, sparking a psychological change that makes you more creative, more selective, and immune to lifestyle inflation. There is a massive difference between being reckless and being calculated. Many people are so terrified of losing money that they let inflation slowly erode their purchasing power in a basic savings account. They avoid stocks or real estate out of fear, not realizing that not investing is actually the riskiest decision of all. Wealth isn't built by eliminating risk, it's built by managing it. Staying stagnant while the cost of living rises around you is a guaranteed loss. Real growth requires the courage to take calculated risks, whether that's investing in your education, starting a side business, or putting money into the markets. The most significant barrier to wealth is linear thinking, the belief that trading your time for dollars is the only way to earn. If you only earn when you're working, you have a ceiling on your life. Wealthy individuals focus on decoupling their income from their time through rental properties, dividends, or business ownership. This transition isn't easy. It requires front-loading the work, sacrificing current consumption to free up the capital needed to build these streams. It might mean living in a smaller apartment or working weekends now so you don't have to work at all later. Finally, remember that financial knowledge isn't static. Markets change, tax laws evolve, and new opportunities emerge. If you haven't updated your money management skills since you left school, you're operating with an outdated map. A lack of ongoing education makes you prey for predatory financial products and get-rich-quick schemes. Building wealth requires a commitment to understanding compound interest, tax optimization, and asset allocation. These aren't complex topics, but they are the tools of the trade for anyone serious about freedom. The encouraging truth is that awareness is the first step toward change. You don't need a total life overhaul today. You just need to choose one or two areas to improve. Start by defining specific, time-bound targets. Don't just say you want to save more. Decide to accumulate $15,000 in 18 months. When you have a clear objective, every impulse purchase gets filtered through a simple question. Does this move me closer to my goal or further away? Next, prioritize your emergency fund. If you're among the millions who can't handle a $400 surprise, make that your immediate mission. Even $50 a month is a start. This fund is your psychological armor. It prevents you from making desperate decisions and breaks the cycle of debt when life throws you a curveball. Take an honest look at where your money goes. Track every dollar for 30 days. You'll likely be shocked by the leaks, the dining out, the idle subscriptions, the impulse buys. This isn't about depriving yourself, it's about sustainable change. Calculate the true annual cost of your habits, and you'll realize that the small obstacles in your path are actually the ones keeping you from the finish line. To break the chains of debt, you need a cold, mathematical plan. Start by listing every single debt you owe, alongside their balances and interest rates. Your mission is simple. Focus every extra dollar on the debt with the highest interest rate first. This isn't about emotion. It's about minimizing the total amount of money you lose to interest over time. Simultaneously, you must draw a line in the sand regarding new debt. If you can't pay for it in cash today, you can't afford it. Period. Before any major purchase, perform an internal audit. Are you buying this to solve a problem or to manage an impression? If you're buying it for the look, recognize that the temporary high of a new possession is rarely worth the long-term cost of your freedom. The most effective way to pay yourself first is to take your own willpower out of the equation. Automation is the secret weapon of the wealthy. Set up automatic transfers so that a portion of your paycheck, even if it's just $50 or $100, moves into your investments the moment it hits your account. You'll find that you quickly adapt to living on whatever remains. As your income grows, don't raise your lifestyle, raise your automation. By the time you even see the money, it's already gone to work for your future self. True financial independence requires moving beyond the one-paycheck lifestyle. Start exploring ways to decouple your survival from your day job. This might mean freelancing, launching a small digital business, or acquiring income-producing assets like dividend stocks. These ventures require a heavy lift of effort and time at the start, but they represent the only real path to a life where your income doesn't stop just because you did. Finally, commit to being a student of the game. Financial literacy isn't a destination, it's a practice. Read the books, listen to the podcasts, and stay curious about tax laws and market shifts. The more you understand how money moves, the better your intuition becomes. The wealthy aren't necessarily smarter or more disciplined than you. They've simply built better systems and made those systems automatic. The path from being broke to being secure isn't mysterious or complicated. It's just the result of making better choices consistently over time. The divide between those who build wealth and those who remain stuck isn't defined by luck or inheritance. It's defined by the willingness to identify wealth-destroying behaviors and systematically replace them with building habits. Your financial future isn't dictated by your past mistakes or your current bank balance. It is decided by what you do with the very next dollar that enters your hands. Choose to break the patterns that keep the majority of the world broke and join the minority who understand what it means to be truly free. The principles work. The only question is, will you?